can a linkage be deleted or only modified? So when they say only modified, it is a leading question. Why do you say only modified? Can a linkage be deleted, modified, innovated, created? That should have been the question. Anyway, by that only, it's a needless delimitation of the question. Come on. Of course, a linkage can be deleted. All kinds of linkages are there. I have written in my thesis that the entire universe is nothing but an n-dimensional linkage network at varied levels. Physical levels, organic levels, psychological levels, idea levels, external world, many other things levels. Every object is nothing but an assemblage of linkages. So, at a simple level, a little child is writing alphabets in the notebook, and if it is wrong, it gets deleted by a rubber, and then it rewrites and then modifies that letter after deleting. The same linkage that by which the alphabet A or B or C is formed on the paper. First the wrong one was deleted and it is modified. And at the practical level, somebody is arranging a circuit board, two wires are connected to form a linkage of circuit for electric current. So, and if it is wrong, he can, using the same soldering iron, he can remove it and make another linkage at a physical level. Then assembling things, a linkage can be definitely modified at all levels. Many linkages with many of my friends, so-called friends at the school level, got deleted over a period of time. It's not deleted, sort of vanished. And there could be other relations where there will be conscious deleting, like the modern situation of husband and wife getting their marital relationship linkages are deleted. There are cases where marital relationship bordering upon divorce get modified and they come together. Now comes the mental linkages, misunderstanding, false understanding, wrong understanding. That kind of linkages can be deleted and modified, and a new understanding can be created. In a psychotherapeutic situation, the conventional psychoanalytic psychotherapy, a person is having a sort of psychological conflict. The basic work of the therapist is to get all those dysfunctional ghost linkages to be deleted, helping the patient to find the meaninglessness or the inapplicability or the irrelevance or the illusory nature of those linkages, a redeeming of the properly functioning mind. It's the choice of the competency or the creativity of the therapist. Question number 31. This is the first time in my life I am talking to a screen. So I feel a little bit mechanical and unreal and unnatural. What is the weight of a blocked linkage on the human psyche? Psyche meaning the soul, that internal attendant spirit. It is not the same as mind in the normal sense. What is the weight of a blocked linkage? Of course, that depends upon the kind of linkage, kind of block of that linkage. So weight meaning maybe the felt pressure to the individual, the extent of anxiety or tension or worry. I have seen and I myself have experienced severe frustration. A wonderful idea occurs in the middle of the night. Most of the time I get up and write it down. Sometimes I feel very lazy, or sometimes I myself will recollect it 2-3 times so that linkages can be invoked in the morning. Most of the time I would not even remember that there was such a thing. Secondly, if at all I remember, I would not recollect the details of it. So I developed a practice of writing them in the book. Even in the middle of the night, from sleep, I would write. I have thousands of pages like that. Now when I look at it, I don't understand what I have written. Not that I cannot read it. The concepts are so mysteriously, what can I say, incredible. And I feel a kind of a weight in the sense that I feel a little disappointed. When certain critical linkages are blocked, it carries a lot of importance or important consequences for the psyche. And that's what is going on maybe with the great majority of people. So a person talks about the value of truth to the public, and on the other side, that person does just the opposite of that. That linkage of truth, which he ascertained some time back, got blocked within him. That's how a great lot of people develop a kind of a weak self-image. Though they may be so-called having a weight in the public, but the real gravity, the real feeling of their own importance is very much low within themselves. So their psyche gets corrupted. So the entire spiritual literature contains a great lot of reference to that weakness or the corruption or the holes in the psyche of human beings who are unethical. In fact, Buddha talks about the eightfold path. What is that? This is right thinking, right action, right behavior, and so on and so forth. Right. So those who do not right things, they are blocking the linkage of their self. So-called psyche is not purchased from somewhere. The psyche is there in that entity. Original entity carries that essence of psyche. And that psyche is a part of the universe. It's a grand design and setting and process of the universe within every being, maybe including a butterfly or a bird or a cat, and at a grand scale in the human being. So if there are blocked linkages, that means linkages that are corrupt and intertwined and fusing, like the wiring in the house is fused and fire and things like that. At the human level, there is no such direct fire or anything like that, but the soul or the corrupted. In the philosophy of Ayurveda, the great supreme rishis, their geniuses, they say together, Ragadi Roge. That means most of the illnesses, especially the process illnesses, not reactive illnesses, process illnesses are the result of ragadi. Rogam meaning serious illnesses, ragam meaning emotions. The emotional conflicts of the individual only leads to the gradual process illnesses of the body. Otherwise, why should human beings have illnesses? The modern human beings, they cook, they boil their foods and wash their clothes and clean their houses, and they even walk inside their own houses with imported marbles, wearing a chappal and all kinds of protection of the body from possible probable invasions of whatever they think of something wrong. But they all have serious illnesses. When I was young, in my area, at least 200 kilometer radius, there was not a single major hospital, because people had only what you call fever and cough. That was all. Now it is told that in cities like that in Bangalore, 12-year-old schoolboys are taken to dialysis every week. Blocked linkages, main problem of human beings, especially of the modern world. They have lost their linkages with the original culture and tradition and values and norms and of their locality or community or whatever. Now they have all blindly adopted, embraced, married to some very peripheral new linkages. How the blocked linkages of one's own historical background affects the core, attendant spirit of the individual. Attention, observation, thinking, conceptualization, analysis, imagination, visualization, projection. They are all average or below average in their functional capacity and speed for a great majority of people, which I have seen directly. It's a normal distribution. Engines of intellect are actually not necessary in education at all. What is education? Just knowing, mugging up, rote learning of whatever is written in the books and whatever is taught in the class by the teachers. For that kind of a learning, you don't need the engines of intellect. You don't need observation, you don't need attention, you don't need thinking, attention to details of an idea. You don't need conceptualization, you don't need some 18 other intellect engines. Okay? So, easily great mass of people are manipulated by just knowing, just by delivering cleverly constituted languages. So, the wonderful linkages are thereby blocked or deleted or modified in a disadvantageous way. That's why societies are in confusion. That's why more than 70 to 75% of people all over the world are suffering from depression. And their equations of life have changed. This question is giving me the opportunity to linkage it with much more direct observations. Of course, I'm touching only the tip of the iceberg of what I can actually talk about in the context of these questions.